Hey guys, Rockin' Robber here, this time with the Edain mod once again, but doing something a little different. This is me versus TiberiumLeader, who I mentioned in a previous video. And this is also a bit different to usual because I'm actually doing a post commentary on this. Basically, I wanted to focus on the game while we were playing and didn't do any commentary during it, but I'm going to do it afterwards. Hopefully remembering what exactly I was planning in all these circumstances. So, before the match starts, I want to thank TiberiumLeader again for battling me. This was actually our third battle, and the best one, at least from my perspective. We had Rohan Mordor, where his army just crushed mine. Dwarves Angmar, again, pretty much the same. And then this one, which is a bit closer. So I got dwarves, so I was pretty happy with that, because dwarves are my best army, really. He'd said before no Edain. I didn't know why at the time, but apparently they are overpowered because they're quick and they're tanky. So I went with Erebor, simply because Gimli. So I built a barracks early because I wanted to get some phalanx out to deal with the warglares. I sent out those guys to get that and turn it into a mine for some early resources, and I made my first major blunder of the game and went and attacked up there. What I should have done is gone south and attack a single Dunlending camp down there, but I didn't really think that through. First thing I was doing obviously was just trying to increase my resources. I did learn a lot from this game. I also learned that two lots of dwarves can't do this. They were close, but the amount of time it took as well wasn't worth it. Alright, so I was recruiting Nori because he gets stronger every minute or two, I think it is. So it's an easy way to get a good powerful hero early on. I left the dwarves to sort of up there to their own devices, assuming that they could take this, and used Nori to go get this settlement. I went back up there to check. They seemed to be doing okay, but they were taking damage from these axe throwers and not really doing anything to stop them. I thought that would be enough, so I left them alone to go buy some phalanx. Now at this point I still didn't know what Tiberium was playing in this one, so I was going to spam out phalanx because I was expecting a potential cavalry rush. Alright, so I was sending Nori down there to get that. That was always going to be a lumber mill just because there was trees around it. So I sent them down there knowing the warglare was there, and with the lumber mill being purchased, I believe I went back to check on the dwarves up there, yeah, and found, oh dear, that they're almost all dead. So I had to make a very quick withdrawal before I lost them all. I've got to say, there's one thing I've got to get better at, and it's micromanaging and using the spacebar to do that, because I could save a lot of time and a lot of lives by doing that. And that's one thing I did learn from this battle. Alright, so with them down here, I went for the warglare. I was worried at that point that maybe Tiberium was doing an early raid on me or something, but it was just seeing the wargs. I built this early solely because I just wanted the extra resources as quick as possible. I was worried at that point that Dunlending there was going to trash it, which would have been quite upsetting, really. Also, one other thing I've learned, I'm not going to rely on stone masons as much. I'm going to get mines more. I'll get one stone masons, but That's it. So I was worried about my resource gain about now because it wasn't really going up quickly enough. I did put myself at a slight disadvantage from not dealing with these down here first, rather than throwing my dwarves up at the sword dunlendings above. So that was a lesson learned. Just managed to kill those wargs off. And they were dealing with that. I do wonder a bit what would have happened if I had taken this dunlending layer down here first and not wasted my time up top. I got kind of blinded by the toughness of the dwarves and trying to get an early gold lead by trashing 3 of those layers. That should have been a mine. As should that. The stonemason is good, but the mines are just invaluable for lowering the cost of upgrades, something that I really needed. I was feeling a bit more confident as this was going on though, because I was building quite a few resource buildings and sort of taking control of the bottom of the map quite a bit really. The only thing I was struggling on was units. But that was sort of the next plan after I captured this. So I got to this point and I wasn't quite sure where to go next. I was tempted to go and take the layer above, but I didn't want to give away my position too much. So I went south to go and take the goblin layer that's down here. Like I say, I didn't want to give away that I'd actually gotten that far, so I was just leaving that where it was. And since I was making so many resources, I decided to pump some more troops out. Sticking with the phalanx theme, worried about seeing cavalry or battle wagons or something like that. Now I was smart enough to actually buy a mine shaft here so that I could transport my troops from in here to on the battlefield. I was feeling pretty confident still at this point. Again, going for more phalanx, assuming them to be the best course of action. In hindsight, I'd have been better off getting more regular guardians and axe throwers to start with. But at this point I was still unknown sort of what army I was fighting, so I did actually start getting some axe throwers at this point, so at least I had some ranged damage. Upgrading that just so that it could defend itself when that time came. I was just checking that I'd upgraded them and now putting them in there because the plan was to put all of my troops out onto the field through the mines. And seeing that I had this little area covered, I decided that saving my resources would be a good course of action and buying Dale. I bought that obviously to enhance the resource gain. I healed them just in case we got attacked, and it gave them a bit more of a chance. And with the money available, I bought Dale. I was quite pleased to get it that early. I thought I'd done quite a good job there, so I put them back here just to try and not give away my position. Now I had a lot of troops in the mines at this point. I don't think I could fit in any more if I wanted to. And I was running very close on my command limit, so the pantries had to start to be built. I was a bit worried that maybe I'd been spotted and he was bombarding me with something on Dale, but I was wrong. With Dale in my control, I decided to actually push along down here to try and sort of get a bit more of an advantage. Seeing all those Urukai down the middle there kind of worried me for a second, especially with my gate still open. I thought maybe he was going to try and push into my base or something, but Tiberium just sort of ignored my mind there and started running around. I'm assuming he was just trying to scout out and see what I had actually gotten with I think that was the starting units of Urukai. So he got to this point and started running away towards this one, where again he started running towards that, and upon seeing I've got that, he's running away again. Right now I'm saving all my money to upgrade Dale so I can get all that up and running. Put another mine down. And I thought I'd take a risk and chase those Urukai up there, because if it was just them, I had a good chance of killing them. And that would take some of the potential danger away from Dale, so that's what I chose to do. I chased them up there, and he summoned his orcs, starting quite a big fight. I summoned, or whatever his name is, Dory, isn't it? Dory. And got just enough power points for the tower, which is what actually turned the tide of that battle, really, and made it quite an easy win. Now, knowing he has Urukai, I still wasn't sure if he was going to pump out any Warg Riders, so I did keep buying a few Phalanx, but was going more towards a Guardian's route, because obviously they're going to be more useful. And with this build, I decided to start pumping out some Dale troops, because they were cheap and effective. I decided to ignore going for pikemen with them though. I'm sticking with just Dwarven Phalanx for the spears. I was pleasantly surprised at how we'd actually won that fight, so we were actually pumping resources out at a very, very rapid rate at this point. So I was able to sort of keep boosting up my army's numbers. Especially with the Dale troops being relatively cheap. I was feeling pretty good at this point. I'd won a fight, which was something I hadn't tended to do in most of our battles so far. I wanted them to go back down there and to buy the well so I could heal them all up in preparation for the inevitable upcoming battle. But obviously I didn't want this being destroyed, so I dumped out a couple lots of dwarves to defend it. Now at this point, like I say, I was feeling confident, but I wasn't too confident because I'd taken a beating from Tiberius in 3 games so far altogether. So I knew that he'd be more than capable of making a comeback. I made sure to destroy that this time. I forgot to last time. So after that was done, I hid them down here. 1 to heal them, and 2 to keep them out of sight to sort of try and disguise how many troops I actually had. I made sure I didn't attack them as well, because I didn't want to be clearing that stuff out quite yet. This is where I started to misplay a bit, because I kept buying Phalanx and I really didn't need to. Because there was no Warg Riders turning up, so the Phalanx were not the best choice. But my army was getting quite big, so I decided to just keep going with what had been doing well for me so far. I actually make my next biggest misplay quite soon, I think. Because at this point I'm spamming out resources so quickly, and I honestly don't have many command points left. But instead of doing the smart thing, which would have been saving my resources and buying the heroes, I continued to pump out troops. Apart from Brand, he was the only one I bought, and I think that was the only one I did buy for the fight, yeah, the upcoming battle, so I did misplay that quite a bit. So I was focused on buying troops and upgrading them, which wasn't a bad idea, but I needed to get the heroes out first to have that extra punch in the fights. Just I was looking pretty good. I wasn't sure whether to attack or not yet. I decided to pump out Gloin because I wasn't at max command points yet, and I didn't want to throw away troops needlessly. Plus, I hadn't done the upgrades yet, so I was still quite worried about him sort of finding Dale down here, though. So I was quite inclined to try and sort of hide away a bit more and get these things healed. And by the sound of that, I had Santa on my team. So with Gloin there, I was just going to quickly send him over. And I wasn't really sure when the upgrades came what to upgrade first. Everything had its sort of reasonings. I did get into Thorin as well, and then I saw this and I started to panic a bit. But I had an idea. I could encircle them and do some damage and really sort of take care of some of his troops. I didn't actually notice that Brand had actually started shooting. Yeah, it didn't work quite as I wanted, because he obviously spotted my troops there. So I dropped Gloin out and decided, you know what, I might as well go for it. Let's try and encircle them. Unfortunately, they were a bit too quick for me. However, he came back obviously thinking my force was a lot smaller, so when these guys charged in at the side and I put a tower behind them, it sort of gave me a bit of a boost. But I saw those orcs being spawned and I started to panic a bit. I summoned Dory quick before Nori died, and unfortunately nothing else really had an ability that I could use, and I hadn't got Thorin out. Gloin died, unsurprisingly really. He got crippled and then focused out with his death. He started retreating then, so I decided to drop back. I didn't want to get lured into another trap like I had been in previous games, so I fell back, settling for destroying that, and then returning to Dale to heal up. Now here I was dumb because I started focusing on buying upgrades before having all the heroes. Had I done it the other way around, it would have been a lot smarter. But I didn't, and that's why this didn't go as well as it should have done, really. I should have been more patient. I had the advantage after that, really. Or at least in this half of the map I did. I did love how they all managed to squish into that little area. I had actually lost a few troops in that fight though, so I went back and I think I actually started building some troops. Also, I've got to start using spacebar more to sort of see where these events are happening. And I bought this stuff because I was expecting an attack on my fortress relatively soon, and there was a lot of wild men over there. Like, look at all that. But that was taking a few out, so I was happy with that. I got caught. I was a bit indecisive at this point. I wasn't sure what I wanted to really do, and instead of doing the smart thing and saving for heroes, I pumped out more troops, which was the wrong decision completely. I think I did that because I was afraid of, if he did attack the castle, I had nothing defending it other than these towers and a catapult now. I love how much damage this does. That just crushed so many troops. That took out a few more as well. Now that worried me a bit when I saw those attacking my tower, and I bought more troops, not thinking about it. So the two best characters, Edain and Gimli, were left on board, which was poor play on my part. I'm not saying things would have gone different had I done it a different way, but I should have tried to get Gimli and Edain out, especially with his force of Dunlendings just sort of going all over the map and trashing my stuff. I did get Nori back out, to my credit. I decided to try and be a bit cheeky because I saw that all of his units were over there and thought, well, why not try, hit his base and distract him with sort of a few troops out of these. And considering how small sort of that little army was looking, I thought I might just get away with it. Now in hindsight, this wasn't a bad plan, it just wasn't executed correctly. I should have really held off with these troops and fought sort of all together. Now I wasn't sure where his big army was at the minute, and that was a big mistake using my heal there. But it was too late to do anything about it, obviously. So I was seeing these buildings trash and I was thinking, I'm doing okay here, and then this just destroyed me. That lightning storm there, that just decimated my army, and then we got surrounded by the Urukai. And there was literally nothing I could do after that. I think my heart completely just sank as soon as I saw that lightning storm hit, because I knew that those troops up there were going to die. There was no way they could fight him at sort of half health as they were. Saruman is just deadly up there. I was so focused on that I didn't even notice that I'd gotten 6 power points. Wouldn't have made a difference, I couldn't have saved anyone. Of course I kept panicking, so I was just throwing out units piecemeal and they were dying piecemeal. So at this point I didn't really have much of a plan left. My army had been just annihilated and I didn't have enough resources to rebuild it quickly. Of course, with my army dead, this left Dale completely vulnerable, which led to this attack. I threw that down. I knew it wouldn't be enough to defend it, but I just threw it down in a vain hope to defend it. I decided I should have kept all of my units back. I threw them into the mine, and I wasn't totally sure what my plan was. But I made the wrong choice because I think I tried to drop them there to defend Dale, or at least try and fight the army. But it was too late by then. Dale was destroyed and his army was enormous. Which, when it's Urukai, upgraded Urukai with Saruman, Ugluk and Lurtz leading it, That's not a good idea to fight them.
We didn't. The whole thing was a gamble. Luckily it paid off.
Now I made the wrong choice here. I should have just dropped everything back into my fortress and hold it. That should have been what I did. But as I said, I was panicking at this point because I'd lost all my army. I'd lost Dale. I'd lost so much in a short space of time. And I was insistent on buying these upgrades instead of saving up for heroes. I thought I could fight this for some reason.
We didn't like our chances against that many orcs.
I underestimated how many troops these guys could take. The plan was the axe throwers were to stay back and then come out of nowhere when the Uruk-hai smashed into my front line. Which is fine, except for the fact that they were so upgraded that I had no chance of defending against them. The other plan, I think I left some of them in there because I was going to like, oh, I've only got 3 or 4 units here. Actually, I've got all of these, but again, that wasn't going to work. But I was desperate at this point, just because that Uruk-hai army was so big. There was no way I could stop it without my own heroes, and I just wasn't buying them. But as I said, I was looking for just to build an army. I wasn't thinking really. I just had some odd obsession with trying to... Well, it was a combination of defending this and killing his army, both of which were not going to happen.
We didn't. The whole thing was a gamble. Luckily it paid off.
Like, I threw it around... It's got to be in the next 5 minutes or so.
Some things are best left secret.
I, for some reason, thought this force would be able to do it. And I went for it. And I still don't know why I did it. Whether I was just hoping that the Uruk-hai army wasn't going to be around there anymore, and... sorry. Obviously it was. And that's all level 5 stuff. And with the best will in the world, it don't matter how good your army is, it can't stand up to level 5 Uruk-hai. Like, look, these just got absolutely massacred, even with a heal. I saw that this fight was obviously going sideways, so I threw my axe throwers back into my mine pretty soon after this. For some reason I thought that this would work, by the way, at the time. Saruman just wizard blasted a bunch of them, so I mean that basically killed off the chance I had of fighting. I managed to save a few of them, but the damage was done. I'd lost so many points again. I lost about 700 points of troops. And I'd just thrown them away. That was what really annoyed me. It was that I'd given them away, basically. I hadn't played smart, and it had cost me, and that was kind of like the last hope I had destroyed, because I'd lost all those troops again. But I don't give up. That's why I never surrender in these games. I fight to the end, and I'll let my opponent trash my base, because they've deserved that. Now, I'm not sure what the plan was here, whether I knew that he was going to have this up here and have it be a steelworks, and whether I thought I could trash that, quickly build a dale and try and form some kind of counter-attack, I don't know, but that was what I did. And what happens is it shows off how good he is at sort of using the spacebar to quickly go to whatever the event is, because he had something prepared as soon as my troops got there. I was upgrading these guys and they went up there. It was a steelworks like I thought, but the steelworks was absolutely annihilating me, and upon seeing it wasn't doing much damage, I decided to run away, but the damage was done as he already spawned his orc army, and that was it for them. Forged blades and heavy armour aside, they're surrounded by orcs and Grishnak. And that was with all those, that was all of them dead. And that was really the finishing blow right there. Because that had been about 5 units of axe throwers, which with their upgrades had cost 900 apiece. That's 4,500 resources that had just been killed by summoned orcs. So I think, oh no, that unit of axe throwers is still out there. I'd forgotten about them. I honestly wasn't sure what to do at this point. I was pumping out troops in a vain hope of putting up some kind of last defense, because I knew it was over. I knew it was over. But like I say, I don't give up without a fight, so I just built up the army I could and waited for the inevitable assault. Whether that be by ballista, battering ram or bomb, I was just sitting there waiting really for it to end. Of course all of them appeared, so it gave me a few more kills I suppose to my axe towers, but it was really quite a minor victory at that point. I obviously got my stun power back, but that weren't going to be enough. Bought Nori back because he was 500 and he was my strongest available hero, really. And then I spotted the big wedge of green down there and the 2 bombs, or 3 bombs, being deployed, and I know what's about to happen. He's got a high level Saruman and he's put 3 bombs down. It's quite obvious what's about to happen. And there goes my walls. Not at all to my surprise, and I waited because there was nothing else I could do. I bought the catapult just to get some last kills. And then to make it even worse, he summoned the armies of Isengard. As soon as I started moving, I stunned them for the few seconds that I get. Right now, yep, I just stunned them. Or at least I tried to. Some of them weren't affected. And at that point, it was just, you know, it was waiting for the end. I attack moved out there because I might as well, you know. But look at all those Urukai. I was just desperately buying defenses to do some more damage before we died. Nori died in no time because he's completely outclassed at this point. I bought those powers just for the heck of it, really. There was no way we were doing anything. And Saruman, of course, blowing all my troops away doesn't help. And then he uses his power to just corrupt all the minds of the remaining troops I had, so I had no army, basically. None of them were mine anymore. So yeah, I had no hope, and there's 3 ballistas running in to do some damage. The only consolation I had was that I was killing a lot with my catapults. But that's not much of a consolation at this point. But all things considered, I was actually very happy with how this game had gone, because I'd done better than I had, I think, in any other game so far. And for only my 4th online game, I was quite happy with it. It was a good game, I learned a lot from it. I actually saved the replay of it, so I'm actually going to watch that and see how Tiberius played in this game, so I can learn a bit about it. Sort of the strategy of using Isengard, but just one building left now before it's GG. I thought, you know what, I might as well buy it just if they get out, you know, for a final last stand, but there's no chance of it. I'm reduced to just towers killing off a few Urukai every now and then. And in just a few seconds, that barracks is about to drop. And there it goes, and that's me defeated. But regardless of that, I enjoyed the game a lot. I learnt from it, and I hope to have another game against Tiberium in the near future. So, thanks again for a good game. And hopefully I can actually start challenging to win games soon, when I get a few more games under my belt. I actually saved 2. The Fords of Eisen was another one we did when I was Angmar and he was Dwarves. Anyway, that's the end of that. Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you once again to TiberiumLeader for playing me, and hopefully I'll have more online games for you in the future. So I'll see you all next time.